Hi everyone, this tutorial is meant to show you how to create an event using the standard method on RaidCentral. The way RaidCentral was initially set up, basically you create an event, you specify what boss types you want allowed in that event, and you specify how many links they need to add. So if you said an event was allowing Telemachus, Normal, and Nightmare Void, for example, when people submit links to your event, if it's not one of those two types, it will reject them. Nothing will ever happen. It'll just tell the user wrong raid link. And if they do submit the proper ones, for every valid raid link they enter, they get a count for it. So you could have an event set up so that they have to submit anywhere from 1 to 100 raid links, for example. If you set it for 1, then the moment someone submits a valid raid link, they will be automatically included in that event and will have access to the links. That's the default setting. If you set it so that they had to require, say, 2 raid links to get into the event, then once they submit 1, they'll still not see all the links. It'll just be like they haven't joined at all. But once they submit a second valid link, then they will have access to the event automatically by default. But I'll show you how to set up your event so you can tweak the various configurations and get it to do what you want it to do. Just for kicks, I'm going to show you how to create an event under Tentacled Turkey. So you would click Create New Event. You would enter your first raid link. You'll notice the asterisks. These are the only 2 boxes that are actually required. But if all you do is you add a raid link and you add a name, it will create an event for whatever difficulty the raid link is for. So if you enter a Nightmare Tentacled Turkey, the event will only accept Nightmare Tentacled Turkey. And by default it will be set to last for 72 hours. And then the links will go public. And the default setting is 1 link required for access. So if this is all you did, you would be starting an event where if someone else submitted a Nightmare Tentacled Turkey, they would have access to the list of everyone who has submitted a Nightmare Tentacled Turkey. That's actually hard to say. I shouldn't have chosen Tentacled Turkey for the example, should I have? Anywho. So we're going to throw a username in, which is required. Of course, in this example, my username is actually example account, so let's do this properly, shall we? Example account. What fair share would you like to post? This is just simply text and or words. It will show up on the category screen and it's just a fair share message. So I'm going to put in 35 million is fair share. That's probably not accurate, but I'm just showing this for example. Oh, I'm even going to throw an FS in there for kicks. What rules or other notes would you like to add? This is a box you can enter HTML in. So you can add pictures, text, CSS, all sorts of cool stuff. But JavaScript is not allowed for security reasons. How long would you like this event to last in hours? This is basically the event timer. So if I enter in 48 hours, what will happen is 48 hours from now, the event, which is currently going to be private, you would have to normally add a link to get into the event, will become public and people will be able to come in from anywhere and help kill off the raids. So that's great if you want to set up a kill order. If you're not going to be setting up a kill order, the best thing to do is just set how long you want the event to last on RaidCentral, and to check this, force password use after event ends. Basically, if you check this, it means the links will not go public at the end of the event. But for today, I'm going to say this event should last 48 hours. How many links need to be submitted for access? This is what I was talking about earlier. If it's set for 1, then once someone submits 1 valid link to your event, they'll be included. If it's 3, they will have to submit 3 links to be included. If you set this to something like 100, what will happen is people can submit to your event, but they won't be able to get in until you actually add them or change this back to, say, 1 or something. The advantage of that being is most events like to collect raids, and the admins go through and verify them and everything, and then what they do is they release all the events at a certain time. So by setting this to a high number like 100, you can do that because people will submit their raid, but no one's actually going to have access to the links themselves until you reduce this back down or simply add the users that have submitted to the user list, which I will show you afterwards. Custom title, that's nothing fancy. Password on joining, password on viewing, and password full access. The only one here which is sort of a useful password is the full access one. Password full access basically is a password you can give out to people if you want to let them have access to the links. If anyone with the password for full access, if you do create one, will be able to get into the links without actually having submitted. This is quite important, the allowed bosses section. This is where you can set up what bosses are allowed in your event. So if your event was going to be for multiple bosses, you would mark them all off here. So our event for today is going to be normal and nightmare void killer, normal, hard, legendary, nightmare, and normal and hard counselor. So I've now created a fancy title, Tentacle Turkey event by example account. Difficulty is nightmare because the link that I use to start, it'll say whatever link you use to start the event. So wouldn't worry about this too much. Raids 1 of 100 currently and 0 are dead. Started 0 hours ago, 35 million FS fair share. So let's go into this event. Now you'll notice right away, even though I am the admin, I don't actually have access to the raid links because I set it for you only get access if you submit 100 links. So this is a good example of me. I'm going to show you how to add people so they will have access to the links. And first of all, let's do this. So if I had set it for 1 raid link required for access, I would be in the event and I would see the links. I'm going to set it back to 100. And now you'll see that members who have not submitted 100 links yet will not be included automatically. But what I can do is add my name. Manually add users by their name. So if I simply add myself, remember, RaidCentral usernames are case sensitive. Capital S Steve is different from small s Steve. So there's my username. If I update this, there is now a user example account who is allowed to see the links. So even though I have it set for you need 100 links to gain automatic access, I can add people at any point or any time in that list. So I can now see all the links. Wonderful. If we go back into the admin screen, I'll show you a couple of things. Actually, normally how people would submit to your event is right here. Add another raid link. Or for them it's going to say add a raid link. You enter a raid link, you enter who summoned it, and you add the raid link. Now, I'm just going to enter the new raid link. And the username of who summoned it. And add a raid link. So you'll see that the event now has 2 raid links. And it did accept that raid link because it was also a Nightmare Turkey. I can see that here. If I show the difficulties in the filter, you can very quickly see exactly what was added. Nightmare Turkey and Nightmare Turkey. So it shows that I did submit but it was from Caleb 0 because I entered a different summoner name in there. That's why it shows Caleb 0. At this point, you have the usual options to copy. You have the auto loader up here, links game, links only, all the usual features. Raid status can be updated health-wise. If you are an admin, however, you will have the admin section, which will show a little more information, let you change the link if there's a problem with the link and you need to replace it because of a typo or something, you can do that here. And you also have this checkbox. It's really just a little marker. It's gray on all the new links, and once one of the admins hits it, it'll go green. And it goes green for all the admins. So I kind of designed that with the idea that when they're buffing and checking raids, they can use that to actually check off the raids as good. So if they find a raid which they don't like, or that hasn't been checked yet, you'll see that it's already still gray. But depending on who you are and the admin for that event, you can just use that feature however you want to deem fit. The X is for deleting links. What that will do is it will delete a link, and I'm just going to refresh here so you see what it looks like. The link is now deleted. It will appear for admins. It will be grayed out, and you can undelete it right there very easily, but it will not be visible to the public. If Joe Blow comes into this event right now, he's only going to see number 1, and it'll be this one. The deleted links will not show to the general public. So admins can use that when buffing raids if they find a rally card raid or a dead raid or something. The big advantage of using the delete link button is you can leave the link in the event, for your records, and so you can see who messed things up and make notes and whatnot. But any deleted link will not count towards their submission count. So if you have it set up so they need to have one link into the event for access, and you click on delete, and that was their one link in the event, they no longer in the event because that was a bad link and it's been marked as such. And of course undeleting is equally easy. So you now have a new event. The join box here, of course, is basically public. Anyone can access it. To tweak that, you have a couple options. Password on joining event. You can set a password, and what will happen is on the event page, people will not be able to join. I need to change something so you can actually see what I'm talking about. I'm just going to take my name out of there so that I don't get access. Okay, so you'll see that the join box is no longer visible to the general public. In order to join this event, you would have to know what the password is. You enter your join password, and then you would get the join box come up like normal, and you'd be able to enter your submit your raids. So that's the thing is, if you do not want people to use this join box, you can add a password to it, or more simply even, you can simply hide it altogether. So I'm just going to remove that password and hide the join box on event page. If you hide the join box on the event page, it completely eliminates the join box altogether, and no one can submit links via there. That's an easy way to close your event. If you get to a certain point and you don't want to worry about further people adding, or you don't want people adding at the current time, you can hide the join box altogether. Dun, 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 dun. Now, the password on viewing links, I'll show you that, what it does. Before there was a table here, it showed the 2 links. It wouldn't give me the links because I'm not technically allowed in this event right now, but it gave me the table, it showed who the raid was from, and it showed the health. But because I've put a password on raid links, it hides everything. You cannot see the list of raid links unless you have the password. Upon entering the password, of course, you would see the normal raid list. And I'm also going to show you what would happen if you were allowed in the event. So I'm now adding myself back into the event. So right now I can see all the raid links. If an admin has a password on the view links, they still see it because that person is allowed into the links and has basically already been considered as having the password. I'm just checking something. Yep. Because they are on the OK allowed list, even with the password, they will still get access. The only way to stop someone from having access to your account, to your event, is by setting a high number here so that they can't get access, and simply by not having them in the user list. Anyone in this user list is going to have access to the event, period. And if they submit valid links above this number, so if I say you only need one valid link, and they have submitted one valid link, they will have access. But if I set it to 100, and I haven't added their name in the list, that person will not be able to see the links in your event. And even if they had that, the password on viewing links, I believe I already showed you this, but theoretically, because I have not submitted the 100 links, and because an admin has not added my name to the OK list, I still have no access. That's the basic overview of an event on RaidCentral. Next video will show some more stuff. Oh yes, one more thing. If you have created an event and you are done with it, or you just need it to go away, you can reduce this to a small number, the event expiry time, and it will simply delete the event altogether. You can't undo it or anything, but if you ever want to play around or create events just as tests, do so by all means, please. Once you reduce the time and go to the category page, the event will delete itself.